Today is Thursday, June 13th, 2024, and welcome to episode 100 of Rural Reliance with Canny Couple. I'm
Yes.
Julia.
I'm Aaron. Sorry, I got excited.
We're a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every single day on being more self-sufficient, merging homesteading frugality. So today is our 100th episode
Of Reliance.
of Rural Reliance. I never thought we would get here.
No. Never me either. I mean, we talked about it, and
I've been pushing for a podcast for a while. I pushed for the podcast.
I couldn't remember who pushed for the podcast.
I pushed for the podcast. You were
I
like,
always
no,
think
no.
all ideas are my ideas.
He does. He takes credit for all the good stuff.
But what did we do to celebrate the 100th episode today?
We've been busy. I've
We've
been
been
busy.
We've been busy.
I've been busy.
Yes. So, we...
Woke up at the crack of dawn.
Yep.
So we could take advantage of a really good deal at a local grocery store.
Some of the best deals we've seen since before 2020.
Yep. So we got a lot of chicken that we're going to be canning up here in a little bit. We've got 30 pounds of bacon.
And the bacon was 60 cents a pound.
60 cents a pound. Was ends and pieces, but normally what I do with bacon is cut it up into small pieces anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
And the split chicken breasts were 98 cents a pound.
98 cents a pound.
And we got some spare ribs.
Some ribs, yep.
They were 70 some cents a
Yeah,
pound?
something like that, 78.
Yeah.
So it was 7 for 10-pound box.
Yep. And we picked up I know it's not good, but and if we're out of power and we need it for something, picked up a thing of water, a 24-pack for $2.
It's a case of water. We always keep an emergency pack of water on hand. We've been needing to change that out, so we went ahead and got that changed. But that's how we spent our morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's not including what we spent with the rest of the day. So we came home, I processed bacon.
Yeah.
Got that processed and put to baggies, separated out. And then we worked in the garden. I worked in the garden.
Yep.
After we spent some family time with the little one, we picked
berries. We
plums.
Logans,
Boisons. What else?
not poison. Jostas,
gooseberries,
black raspberries, and then we watered the garden.
Yep. So we're doing it all.
Yep.
Doing it all. And I can say that, for our 100th episode, what we wanted to do is we wanted to really reintroduce ourselves and kind of show you how we've sort of transformed over the years that we've been doing this. So I will say when we first started Rural Reliance, we were doing it from homesteading, talking about frugality. We didn't really merge the two together. We've talked about this before.
And then we noticed after we got into this a little that our mistake.
Yep, a huge mistake. It was a glaring error. We were not combining frugality and homesteading. We were just trying to build up our homestead so quickly. And while we weren't going into debt for it, we were going way over budget than what we expected. Once we noticed this and once we decided we were really going to pay off our debt, we really started making some big shifts.
Yeah.
And we were in debt when we started this.
Yep, definitely.
We had quite a bit.
It was about getting out of it at that time, but now it's about
Building.
Staying debt-free.
Building wealth.
Yep.
That's absolutely. So, what our goal is with Rural Reliance and the Canny Couple is to give inspiration and to help you reach your goals of being, whether debt-free, paying off your credit cards, building an emergency fund, whatever that goal is, building a homestead, however you need to do. Whatever
Being
that goal is.
self-sufficient.
Yeah, more self-sufficient, things you might not have thought of. Like for us, we're just talking about this. One of the biggest things we think people forget in their preps is a temperature gauge.
Yes.
And why is that important? Well, you need to know what the temperature in your house is.
Mm-hmm.
And the temperature in your living room, where your
won't be where you're at, where your unit is, like for your heat pump, air conditioning unit, won't be the same in every room.
No. So our basement is going to be a very different temperature compared to our upstairs. The back part of the house is going to be different compared to where the wood stove is. So this is very important. So we feel like, we want to open your eyes to things that you might be missing, or to inspire you to be like, well, what about this? And we help the entire community with these ideas and thoughts. And that's just really what we do. We want to share our experiences, our failures, lots of failures.
You'll hear about that a lot.
Hear about that a lot. We failed a lot. We made a lot of mistakes. Our homestead would probably be producing if we would have put in a whole bunch of berry plants throughout the entire thing.
Yep.
We would probably have income being generated.
Have a massive berry farm.
Have a massive berry farm.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just producing enough for us. So, but we know that could be an option for another piece of property, maybe.
Yep.
It's definitely something because it's much faster, but we've learned. So, what do you have anything else to add to who we were before? Where we are?
Before we were telling you about, how we were working 2 full-time jobs and trying to make the homestead work.
That's very different. That's changed over the years.
That's changed a lot. Before it was push, 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 push. It's still push, push. Maybe 2 out of the 3 pushes now, compared to before. But
I don't know. I'm more tired than I ever been.
Well, I know that, and see, that's because she's pushing a lot harder to try to catch up for some of the things we failed at the previous years.
Yes. So, one of our big homestead goals. We're just going to start talking about the goals of our homestead and probably reflect back and go forward. Mm-hmm. One of our big homestead goals, and we've always pushed towards this, is to be self-sustainable, more reliant on ourselves.
I know it's, almost impossible to get 100%. 75 is great. We would love to be 80, 90%, somewhere in that range, eventually.
It's really hard to cover all your needs.
It is.
It really is. It really is. And that's I think that's the idea. That's the dream, is to cover all your needs. But people still went to stores to get sugar. They still went to because we can't produce the sugar we need.
Right. Yes. Especially like in our area, for example, like where we couldn't grow sugar cane for it. We could do sugar beets.
Sorghum.
We could do sorghum, other type of things. But
we couldn't physically produce enough.
No.
Well, we personally couldn't.
Right.
Oatmeal, flour.
We would need more land and
more
different types of land as well for some of this stuff.
Our property's too steep to manage that.
Right. Different zones maybe for a few things. Those type of things all come into play. You always think back, how did the people really do it back then? For everything like we're talking about, how did they make it?
Well, they weren't as reliant on it.
Exactly.
They weren't. And I will tell you, we looked at growing our own oatmeal.
We did.
We did. We looked at growing our own oatmeal.
It just wasn't cost effective.
It was not cost effective. It was so much work.
It was,
after the fact. It was just like, I can just get it, and I can source it from Azure at a really good cost for us, and that makes more sense.
Right.
So we've had to learn on our sustainability journey where we're going. And we're not there yet. We're absolutely not there yet.
No, 40, 50?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Maybe. That's a rough guess. A lot of it is because of our lifestyle changes.
Mm-hmm. It is because we have had a lot of shift, and we're still shifting towards being more sustainable as we move through. So this year we're kind of in a transition year. Next year we'll probably still be in a transition year.
Right. Probably the year after, before we're
really pushing forward.
Right.
Because this year we have a lot of infrastructure to try to get built. If we can't get it built, we've got to do it next year.
Yeah.
This year we're still in the maintenance. Well, not maintenance. We're in
catch-up phase.
And that has been like everything I've been working on is fixing and updating things that we knew we needed to work on, but hadn't had a chance to work on.
Yeah.
But we're definitely trying to build a system that works well for us and works well for our family. A system that, takes care of itself. We have fruit that we can't eat, it goes to the chickens. If we have things that we can't manage, we have extra, it goes to the chickens. I've got some lettuce, I need to throw it to the chickens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. I have some lettuce. I can just throw it in there, let them peck at it, and eat it. I mean, it threw a bowl out there. Most of it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's their little scavengers almost. Um, but that's really the goal here, is to create systems where we have leftovers. They go to the chicks. The chicks will give us manure. We put that manure in the garden. We get eggs. We can get meat.
Yeah.
All of this works together. So that's what we're looking for. We're even looking at possibly putting a greenhouse at the front of the house. This is a future goal, to produce heat in the winter time that will help heat our basement.
Yeah, it's something we've thought about, just because from the wood heat perspective, it's close to our thermostat and our pipes are underneath, so we need a way to keep that basement warmer.
Yes, and we could get one that gets the 2 windows in the basement, get some heat, maybe put in an intake fan that pulls the heat in, because the front of the house does get a bit more sun.
It does.
So it would be a good option for us. So we're trying to think long term as well. Like, how do we manage this in the long run?
Yeah, like when we think of things, we don't look at it from a today perspective. We look at it from, years from now. How easy is it to maintain? How much are we going to use this? Is it worth our time and effort? And who's going to maintain it?
And our long term has changed. So we've looked at things differently over the years. We have grown so much in our journey, especially after we had the little one. Once we had her and we started having to be up in the middle of the night and had to have something to do, we started watching and learning about how we could improve our homestead and grow more food and be more sustainable. We really learned that we had made a lot of mistakes. And now we're kind of learning, okay, now what do we need to focus on? What do we need to work on? What would make us better and more sustainable?
Right.
And a big one that Aaron's been working on, this is his big project for the year, is our solar. And we've made a lot of strides. The panels work, they're up, we're using them. Not as effectively as Aaron would like, but we are using them.
We are using them.
Multiple times a day.
Right, and we're cutting back on some of our energy costs. We still got a few other things we're trying to get in place, sometime soon. Like I've said, the transfer switch, got some ideas, about how to reduce electricity based off that as well. I mean, it's just some things we got to look at.
Absolutely. So focusing on infrastructure, like we mentioned, updating the house, that was a big one that we focused on throughout this entire journey. So we had talked about how our house, we needed to have it updated. We survived a house remodel with the marriage intact. Still love each other.
Oh yes, definitely.
And when we updated the house, we definitely updated it to be more homestead friendly. We added a wood stove to our homestead, which was vital for us. We found that out over the years. We had a really bad storm, couldn't heat the house up efficiently, so we knew a wood stove had to happen. And
you're right, because we had just a fireplace before, and it was downstairs, and when you had to stay down there in the wintertime, there was no light coming in there, so it made it very...
It was hard to heat.
Yeah.
It was hard to heat. It wasn't comfortable. It was just depressing. The other thing that we did is we really upped our storage. We built a pantry upstairs for me, a working pantry, which I have to say has made us so much more functional.
Oh, it has.
It has made the homestead, the cooking, it gives me room to put canned foods, everything that we would normally have had. Like, we would be frustrated trying to find a place to put this.
Yeah.
I would be shoving food underneath bed at this point. If I didn't have that wall of cabinets. But not only that, we also have our homestead kitchen, which has given us even more storage place, a place to put our freeze dryer, dehydrators, all these things that we need to use on a daily basis, or not daily, but weekly, yearly basis. And we have a place to store it that's convenient for me.
Right.
It made a lot of sense. We made the space functional for us and for our goals. Might not be perfect to everybody else, but it really works for us.
Yep.
We also updated our house to be more energy efficient.
Which was one of the main things we were trying to do, from the window perspective.
The
from fans to... Before, we would be using air conditioning constantly to keep the house cool.
comfortable.
To keep it comfortable, yes. Now, we can push the limits more.
Yes, and we can actually make do with just 2 little air window units versus having to turn on our actual big unit, the house unit, which uses so much more electricity. So much more. We've also focused on food production. I will say over the past few years, we've gotten a lot better at this. Now, this year, I'm a little bit worried. We'll see how it's going to do. I'm not seeing what I need to in the garden in some respects with like our squashes and things like that. But we're still very early in the season. So I think my body's like, I should see more. But I'm still extremely early.
Well, I hadn't mentioned it either. I'm a little concerned too.
He's a little concerned too.
Yeah.
But we've had some really weird weather. And we've had a gopher problem.
Yep.
He's a very big gopher problem.
Yes. So, I don't know. We think
we're not sure if we fixed it yet or not.
Right. I've got a game camera I had up in there to see. I'm going to actually pull after this. I pulled it to see if he had gotten in any more, but he decimated broccoli, but nothing.
He's nibbled at our squashes and our pumpkins, and he took out some of our pumpkin area, but not all of it. He's not touched the beans. He's not touched the cucumbers. He's not touched the tomatoes.
Or the trap.
Or the trap. It had cabbage in it. I'm about to throw a head of broccoli in there from the grocery store. See if he grabs it. But we've upped our food production, and we've produced enough over the past few years and also preserved enough that we would be okay if...
And from a berry production, we have more this year than we did last year. We've had more this year.
Oh, yeah, we've already doubled our blueberries. I mean, doubled at least, right? Mm-hmm. We did go down on black raspberry production.
But that was to trim up and contain the area better.
I heavily pruned that area because it was completely unmanageable.
Right, and we had some wild blackberries that had tried to come up in there that we had to get rid of at the same time.
They were massive. They were absolutely insane. So if you've noticed, you've listened to us talk, we're a bit of a different homestead family. Mm-hmm. We're not your normal large homestead family. We're never going to be that. No. We've decided our family is big enough with the 3 of us, so we're happy with that. For various reasons, but it works for us. And we focus on homesteading for our family. And this is a really big thing we push. And you hear me, if you listen to my podcast, you hear me talk about this all the time. You hear Aaron and I talk about this all the time, is build your homestead for you and your family, not for what you see or what you think you need. You
not
need
what the
to actually
Joneses
know.
are doing.
That's the Joneses who are homesteading next door. You don't want to do what Farmer Joe's doing. That might not be what you need.
Exactly.
Homesteading is about making it work for you and your family. And we define homesteading as more creating options for yourself, creating self-reliance, self-sufficiency. But homesteading is all about creating options. And for us, we will always be more of a perennials. We put all of our perennial systems in place before we ever thought about bringing on animals.
Yeah. And that was because we knew how long some of those systems take.
We focused completely different from what you see a lot of other homesteaders do. They're like, oh, well, now we have all these big cows and things. Now we're focusing on perennials. And it's like, you have 10 kids.
You need those perennials like kid 1.
They take years to start producing enough for you to actually eat off of. And we were lucky we had some perennials already in place.
We did, which helped.
It helped a lot. But we also knew to expand off those. So we knew blueberries. And we're about to extend our blueberry production. We're going to be adding some more blueberry bushes down a fence row.
Yeah.
We all had apple trees, and we're about to plant some more apples here in the fall. Hopefully, if the trees survive. But one of the other things that we talk about is how we are more of a poultry eating family. So that is the animal we're focusing on.
Right. We're focusing on chickens right now, ducks here late this year, early next year. Probably early next year, but building it this year.
It'll be built this year.
And then maybe turkeys.
Mm-hmm. Probably will be turkeys.
Probably.
But
just saying.
And if not turkeys, we'll have more chickens.
Yeah.
we'll have, I'll have, like I said, but we also determine like our layer flock will be no more than 20 birds. That's big enough for us.
Yeah.
Because there's only 3 of us we have to feed. Now, I won't lie, I have a little one. She could probably eat eggs every day if I let her.
That's probably true.
And I could eat eggs every day. But for our family, that's all we need. And that's really what we focus on. We focus on what we need for our family and also to have a little bit more to put away. So whenever I calculate how many meat birds I think we're going to need, I'm going to up it a little bit just to make sure we have a little bit extra on hand. But I've calculated it based off how much we actually eat. So turkey, 2 turkeys a month, that's 24 turkeys a year. That's how many we would need.
Right, and that might be even too much.
That's too much. That's probably too much. Same thing like ducks. If we want to have 12 meat ducks, one a month. That's kind of how we're looking at this as we go through and how we kind of calculate out what we're going to need. But we definitely keep our focus small family. We're not going to be the homestead that has cow or pigs or goats.
No.
If we do any larger animal, it'll be a pig.
Right, yeah.
And that will be years and years away from now.
Right. Cow production, I mean, maybe we split beef with somebody or something like that.
We really only need a quarter.
Right. See, I mean, it's not going to be as much for us, but, we don't have the pasture. We don't have the capacity or the infrastructure on our current property to support, to realistically support cows, because we would need to have some other...
We put too many trees on our property.
We did. And a lot of our area is wooded, so we would need, some other source of food for them.
Yep. And that's one of the things we look at when we're talking homesteading frugality. Because when we first started down this journey, we were for sure thought we were going to have goats.
Yeah.
We're going to have goat milk. We're going to have goat cheese, which I won't lie, I do love me some goat cheese on a turkey burger. It's amazing. But we really had to be realistic and look at the pros and cons. We talked about getting the sheep at one point. Looked at that. Aaron wanted, what did you want? You wanted a yak.
I wanted yak.
He wanted a yak. So when we look at all of these things, we're a small family, what we're focused on. And then we start to look back and really look at other aspects of our life. We really learned that our big goal here is to merge homesteading and frugality. And it's something that we think is missing in the homesteading world. Like it's, you think it's there. You think, well, you're growing your own food, so you're not buying it at the grocery store.
Not necessarily.
Well, if you're paying... If you're not careful, homesteading can get expensive. Especially
if you're buying seedlings from Lowe's, Home Depot at $3 a pop. That might even be a low number compared to what they are now.
Or if you're using grow lights that you aren't running off of solar to run your systems and you're growing thousands of seedlings. If you're not looking at your overall cost there. If you're bringing in compost that you don't have yourself. If you're fertilizing, what are you fertilizing with? What are you spraying with? All these things come into effect and you don't really consider it or look at it. We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't. We absolutely did not. Or if you're buying raised beds, they can be hundreds of dollars depending on what you're getting, the metal ones. Or if you're building, because lumber has gotten outrageous in our area again.
It came back down last week.
Oh, did it?
I think it was $328 for a 2x4 in our area.
So we learned this the hard way. So some people are out there doing the homestay thing, doing it really frugal, doing it the best way possible. We didn't start that way. We didn't go into debt, but we were spending thousands of dollars on trees.
Yep.
Just to get them in the ground.
And, getting some of our equipment that, could have waited and we saved up for.
Absolutely. We bought thousands of dollars worth of tomato cages. God, I can't even imagine how many thousands of dollars we have in tomato cages. Luckily, we got a lot of it when it was cheaper. I remember it started getting really expensive in
Yeah,
2020.
we should have bought more at the beginning.
And when I said we were buying like how many at a time? Like a couple hundred at a time.
But we were getting them 40, 50 cents a piece then compared to cheapest now you can find maybe $1.29.
Yeah, so definitely different prices that we were paying, but we were going all in, trying to build the homestead, trying to build our perennial systems, and we weren't really thinking things through. We also weren't thinking through our zones or any of these other things.
Well, we didn't know about zones.
We didn't know about zones. And as we, grew in this podcast, I told Aaron, I said, I don't think we're doing the homestead frugally. I think we're just homesteading and being frugal everywhere else, which is crazy because we are so careful and thoughtful with our money.
Mm-hmm.
We're so mindful with how we spend money. And we were trying to do things like building fences out of material that we had and things like that didn't work. But it was like halfway there. It was like, well, that didn't work. Now we have to go out this direction and do this crazy thing. It's going to cost us a lot of money. One of the big things and one of our really big goals is to make sure we grow our homestead debt free.
Yes, our plan is to not go back into debt again and save up for anything that we plan on purchasing.
Yes, so we got out of debt last year, the end of 2023, 100% debt free. We don't owe anybody anything. That's house and all.
Right, and doing that was able to bring Julia home.
And this allowed us to put more effort in the homestead, to create more opportunities for us to hopefully build more income streams. That's a big goal for us. Also to homeschool and do a lot of other things that we needed to do. But definitely one of the big things was really get us more self-sufficient on the homestead.
Yeah.
And it also allowed us to be a lot more frugal because I feel like we've been much more frugal.
We have.
Since I came home than we were before.
Well, we have more time to think things through now instead of
convenience.
Convenience, yes.
We had to rely a bit on convenience before. It was there were things that I had to have on hand just to make it through certain times, certain days.
Yeah, and even from a perspective, okay, we need to get this built this weekend. This weekend's our only chance. We have to go the quicker route. We're going to pay for this compared to now. We might be able to stretch it out and get it done over a week or something.
Or I could work through and start on the project beforehand, which is, I've been doing a lot of that. Like Aaron, he'll look at me, he's like, well, hey, I'm here, let me help you with this. I'm like, well, I can handle this by myself, but what I need you for is for this project, so let's put your effort here. And while it's frustrating to him because he wants to help with the other projects, it has moved us along faster. I think it really has. It's helped us go faster and helped us develop better systems and get things into place. I can tell you we've been further ahead this year than we have any other year on a lot of things. We've been more on top of things.
We have.
We're still learning. We're still not as on top of it as Aaron would want us to be. He's like, I need a calendar. We need a calendar. Like, this is year one. We're in transition. Let's just work through it.
Yeah, I need the plan in place now.
He needs the plan in place, and we're still figuring out the plan. But it's really been important because we're reaching more of our food goals. I can actually spend more time preserving our own food, and that's one of the big goals we've had, especially this year, is to get more on whole ingredient, one ingredient foods that I have home canned ourselves. That's one of the big things I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be canning chicken here in the next couple of days. We're going to be canning chicken and getting all that processed chicken broth, and that's going to help sustain our family long term.
I will say for me, snacky items.
You've almost cut this out completely.
Almost cut them out completely. And if you saw some like the Pantry Challenge video to begin with and all the snacky items that was in there.
Most of them are gone.
Yeah.
Most of them are gone. We've got rid of a lot of the processed foods. We still have a few things, like I'm always going to have a mac and cheese on hand. But now, instead of getting the cheap mac and cheese, we're getting the better organic mac and cheese. Just to have a hand if we need it.
Right.
And, we do have a little one. She likes these things. We want to make sure she does have some of the things that we had growing up. So, we're just going a different route. Let's see what else. Oh, more natural in other aspects of our life. We're going more natural with our shampoos, our toothpaste, all of that stuff. We've been transitioning away from the stuff that we had on hand, using all of that up, and then moving towards a more natural substitute, either homemade or not. Now, I will say, well, I've had a bit of an issue with some homemade stuff. It didn't work out well for my skin type, so we did have to go buy natural, but it's actually been working out pretty well. So our big goal is to be debt free. Big goal, debt free living.
Stay debt free.
To stay debt free. But with that, we are also building wealth.
Right. That's one of our key things that we still have to focus on.
It's a big goal for us.
Right, because with one income now, it's even harder.
I think it's easier.
Well,
it's been easier to save because we've just went to no spending.
That is true.
We went no spend. Like, we have been very, I don't know. It's like before we might have been more willing to spend the money, but now it's kind of like, nah.
Yeah, we've actually been probably pushing it too long on some items. Like, oh, we need to wait on this, and then we've waited too long, and we should have bought it, a couple of weeks ago.
But we've been able to manage and been able to work through, and we've learned that we can't push to in the next month or we will go over budget. So we kind of have to gradually push that. And we're still learning through this. So one of the things that we're learning to do is create a buying list, to put those things on the buying list, to prioritize that list based off our needs, what we want, and what we need for the house. We've also been looking for used if it's possible. But again, we talked about the struggles we have in our area with used.
Yeah, everybody upsells.
Everybody.
So
it's cheaper to buy new.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not something we usually do from that perspective. But, from our wants and needs, I will say, we don't have as many as we used to probably. I mean, I know we've got some things written down and stuff like that that we need, but most of it's from, hey, we need this from a homestead perspective, to make it easier in the future.
Or, like things that I want that I can wait. I need bar stools for my kitchen. I've needed them for a year now, and we're doing okay without them. And I'll get them eventually, but it's not something I have to have right now. So we've really been focusing on that. But what our goal is to save at least 50% of our income after everything. Well, the ultimate goal is 60%.
I was gonna say, I was like, it's 60.
It's 60, but when we started this, we said 50.
We did.
But you didn't think we could do 50.
I did not.
You did not.
I did not think we could do 50. I thought it would be
probably closer to 40 or 30.
40. I probably figured it was 40. But we've been, 60 to 70 range. End goal is to stay, I think, now at 60%.
And that is after we contribute to all of our retirement accounts and everything as well to our, future. So that is a big goal for us, and that's one of the things we talk about when we talk about frugality with you. How are we doing this? And that's so important because today it doesn't feel like you get credit for making small changes that lead to big savings. And I can tell you, if I went and got Starbucks every day, we wouldn't have 60% savings rate.
No, definitely not.
If I went out every single day, we wouldn't have 60% savings rate.
No.
But we don't go out every single day. We don't go do a lot of these different things that people say aren't worth cutting out of your budget. And we also focus on budgeting. And that has led us to where we are today.
Yeah.
And
it really has.
It helped us build and keeping us to live debt free.
If it wasn't for budgeting, we would not be debt free.
We would not. We were when we were working towards being debt free. We were literally throwing 70% of both of our take home income towards our debt.
Yep.
70%. That shows how low we were living, and that's with spending more money than we do on our budget now.
Yeah.
We were spending more money then on our budget then because food, we had a lot more convenience items. I wasn't making like homemade bread, homemade pizzas, any of that.
That is true.
Like all of that we're making homemade, we're making from scratch now. We don't buy any of that anymore. It's really helped cut our budget. Somebody said, wow, no wonder your grocery budget's so low. All you're getting is this, carrots. I'm like, well, that's all I need. It's all it's on sale. I'm not buying anything else. I'm buying carrots and chicken because that's what's on sale this week.
Yeah, I mean, we do shop only the sales.
Only the sales and build my working pantry. It does make it a bit difficult because we are trying to help people. It's one of the series I like to use meals from deals. But right now there haven't really been a lot of deals, so it's really hard for me to show you some meals.
I mean, we could do a lot of chicken ones from the one we got today.
A lot of chicken. A lot of chicken.
Yeah.
But that's canned chicken.
Right.
It's canned chicken. Get it out, keep it out of the freezer and get it on the shelf.
Yep.
So we're just so focused on building a life of intentionality and mindfulness. And, you know, homesteading, spending, all of that is important. And I would say that that's probably the biggest thing we've taken away from this. Being very intentional, mindful, and applying that to all aspects of our life. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're going to change. We'll be different 3 months from now, 6 months from now than we are today.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, things always change.
Last year, this time, well, not this time, last year, we were making a shift to say, nope, our primary focus is to get out of debt.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably about right now.
It was in July.
Okay, so, I mean, you know, a few days from now.
A few days from now. So,
almost a year, almost 365 days ago.
That we decided, like, okay, we had all these really big goals. Nope, this isn't what we need to focus on. We need to focus on getting out of debt. That needs to be our focus. Get out of debt so we can reevaluate our current lifestyle and see what needs to change.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, how we shifted to where we are now. And I can tell you, we don't feel the pressure as bad. Aaron doesn't have as much stress.
No, definitely not. Stress is not as much just because of everything we were trying to get done.
And I brought a lot of stress home. And it kind of fed everything else. Because there was a lot of pressure on me. And, you know, I talk about this on my own podcast, how, you know, as the woman of the house, I'm kind of the backbone of the household. I'm the backbone. You know, Aaron could be the arms and the legs, but if the back is broken, nothing else is going to work. Yeah. So, or it doesn't work at, you know, full capacity. And, you know, me coming home has allowed me to really push forward and get us in a much better position. We're not where we want to be.
No.
But I don't know if we're ever fully going to be where we want to be, but we are making progress. Right. And we are not a hamster spinning on a wheel. Yep. We are making progress. So, I know for me, I hope you all continue to want to join us as we make progress and we learn and grow and fail a lot. We will fail a lot.
And hopefully we bring a lot of ideas that are useful and inspiration that is useful to you to help you on either your homesteading journey,
your debt-free
journey, or just your frugality journey.
Absolutely. Because that's what it is.
Self-sufficiency.
That's what it is. And it all works together. It can all work separate, however you want to look at it. Not every home prepper is a homesteader, but most homesteaders are preppers just because of the nature of the beast. They naturally lend themselves to each other. And so it works out pretty well. So 100 episodes. Where do you think we're going to be in 100 more?
Oh gosh. I mean, you know, we do this one once a week for people that know. So we've been doing this for 100 weeks now. the Reliance with the Canny Couple. Now, you do your podcast separately, and I think we're at, what, 60?
2, 4, somewhere around there.
Something like that, I think, now on that. So she's been doing that one consistently for, over a year. Over, so it's, maybe in the future we have more episodes. We don't know. We don't know where this is going to take us. We don't know, what you all want. I mean, anything that you enjoy, make sure to let us know, whether it's in the comments, email to thecannycouple@yahoo.com, anything like that, to know how we can bring more value to you.
Absolutely. That's our goal. We want to help you. That's what we want to do. Because we look at the world a little different than most other people do, and kind of are in our own little section of the homesteading world. Everybody has a different perspective, and we can all learn from each other and all grow from each other. That's the goal. Let's all grow together.
Yes. Get everybody to their goals, and everybody's happy.
Absolutely. Just one step closer. That's the other thing, is you got to learn to take the little wins. So even if you're not 100% debt free, if you pay off a credit card,
that's a big accomplishment.
That's a big accomplishment. That's such a good accomplishment. You make an extra payment, I want to celebrate that win with you, because we know what it's like to win.
Yeah.
We do. And it feels so good, and we want to celebrate your wins too. Because that's our goal. To help you win and help celebrate those wins with you.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, 100th episode is done for today. So, make sure you will leave some comments below. Tell us what you thought of this one. If it's something you like to hear, something you didn't like to hear, something you've already heard, anything like that. But if you want to send anything else over to thecannycouple@yahoo.com, you can. And then make sure to go over and check out our link tree, which has links to all the other social media sites we're on.
And as always, thank you for joining us on Rural Reliance with the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.